The final battle of Black Clover is absolutely insane. Asta just died in front of everyone after meeting his mother in the most cruel way imaginable. But that's not all. Lucius goes full god mode, absorbing every grimoire in existence, stacking 9999999 magic types like a freaking cheat code. So seriously, how can they possibly win now? Well, Yuno steps up, gaining new anti-magic and wielding Asta's own sword. But don't celebrate yet, because this is the moment Yuno will actually die. For real this time. Chapter 379 starts with the Black Bulls attaining victory against all the clones Lucius created of himself. Now, since it's been a long time, you're probably lost. So essentially, you're wondering how Fodder defeats a Wizard King opponent. I mean, Lucius is casually 4 times stronger than Lucifero. Now, remember when the Black Bulls got absolutely washed by Damnatio in his paladin form? And they were basically begging for their lives as they got beamed straight into the afterlife. Yeah. It was pretty bad. But that day, Asta was farming aura like nobody's business. In chapter 367, Asta locks in. Thanks to his Zetan training and Ryu's advice, he realizes, wait a second, if I can control anti-magic inside my sword, why not shove it into people instead? So using the Demon Dweller's sword, Asta basically injects the Black Bulls with pure anti-magic steroids, giving each of them their own black form. And bro, the Black Bulls literally became the most broken squad in the entire manga. They all pulled up to the final war zone, each one soloing a Lucius clone and angels like it was light work. Asta literally made his entire squad 100 times stronger overnight. So fast forward to chapter 379, these guys are victorious. But then the Grimoire Tower shines. Asta and Yuno thought they defeated the real Lucius that was on the throne. But in truth, it was just another trick. He congratulates the boys on getting this far, clapping his hands like a gentleman. But then he transforms into the Great Wizard Emperor. He delivers a speech that answers one of the biggest questions in Black Clover. By using the clones to buy time, his real body was connected to every grimoire in the tower within the kingdom. From the birth of mankind itself, the grimoires scattered all over the earth have been stored. Lucius then confirms the existence of a god by explaining the true form of grimoire. He claims it's a god-given wisdom. They increase the magical power innate in mankind itself and further improve the phenomena we know as magic. So what exactly does this mean, ABD? And why do I personally think Tabata cooked up a gourmet meal with these bloody insanely well-written chapters? Well, essentially, Black Clover is doubling down on the whole idea of Lucius being the Antichrist. In Abrahamic religions, which are present in the series by the way, such as Sister Lily praying to God for change to create a better world, and Asta then being left at the church coincidentally, all the elf tribe confirming their divine revelations from the one god. Chapter 380 confirms that Lucius's new archangel creatures are directly inspired by the designs of angels in the Bible as well. But speaking of which, the Bible teaches that wisdom comes from God. Humanity is created with the capacity to reason, create, and wield dominion. In Black Clover, the grimoire are physical manifestations of the idea that God bestowed wisdom upon mankind. The Grimoire Tower is just Tabata's way of paralleling the Tower of Babel from the Bible. Humanity tried to build a tower to heaven to reach God's level, but Lucius, linking himself to all grimoire, is him stealing God's gift for himself, playing the role of a false deity. Now, when you take this deep, think about how Asta's entire journey has been about free will, self-determination, and breaking fate. He has no magic, but that doesn't matter. He was a lower class person, but that doesn't matter. He has no grimoire at first, but he still fought on. He's also short as hell, but he's a short king and has that harem with the baddest and it's like...
Daddy, chill.
Okay, I'm gonna stop glazing Asta. I'm just glad Black Clover's back, baby. So thematically, Asta represents free will and can cancel all magic of someone that is the polar opposite, one that controls it all. It's this huge contrast that makes the final battle bigger than life and death. It's the fight over the soul of humanity itself. Asta is basically Wizard Jesus, but let's continue the massive revelations. Lucius then displays all the powers in this panel, which is... He is using spatial magic, fire, ice, water, and everything else, rendering Asta's attacks useless. Now, before you call this bullshit and an ass pull, Tabata actually foreshadowed this a long time ago. Ryu mentioned exactly this to Asta, that Lucius plans to take control of all the magic in the world, and if he does, it's game over for every continent. However, it goes even further. Remember, in the Heart Kingdom, even Lola Pichica had encyclopedic knowledge from the Grimoire Tower that was there. She inherited from the previous generations of princesses and could search through and access those memories at any time. Even the sword forged by the first Wizard King was created to pass down the power of past Wizard Kings to the future generations, containing fragments of their souls and magic. On the other hand, Lucius has taken it a step further, as he can use the spells that were written in the books and has soul magic himself, which makes his task even easier, since every grimoire is connected to a soul. As a result, Lucius instantly teleports to different locations, wanting to demonstrate his power. He pays Guelder, Marx, and Revchi a visit, with no one having a clue where they went. Lucius then comes back to Asta and Yuno, just to kill his victims in front of them. He proceeds to steal their magic for the most evil reason. Before their grimoire can return to the tower, he just yoinks it for himself and uses Revchi's magic. His chains bind opponents and seal their magic power, even if their power is far greater than his own, as revealed in chapter 170. Now, if you forgot, he plays a very important role in Asta and Yuno's lives, because remember, their very first bond as brothers to aspire to be Wizard King was through defeating this guy all the way back in chapter 1. Lucius then chains Yuno, sealing away his magic, and then activates Marx's communication spell to broadcast to the entire Clover Kingdom the deaths of Asta and Yuno. He wants to crush all their hopes so they can fall down to their knees in worship to their new king. Everyone in the royal capital is in awe, just like your friends will be when they see you having this poster on your wall. That's right, people. You can share your mana with me, as I'm launching a new royal capital poster that you can buy. This will be the home of Asta when he becomes the 29th Wizard King. And right now, for the next 5 days only, I'm doing a special 15% off using the code ABD. Then it's back to normal price. So be sure to check the pinned comment and description to buy it from our website. But with Asta and Yuno slowly losing the upper hand, Ryu chimes in, revealing the only weakness Lucius has left to Asta. The Tengetsu is a special eye, which allows Ryu to perceive everything happening in real time. He can read movements, memories, and even the flow of magical power. And what Ryu sees is terrifying. Lucius has become too strong. However, he is channeling an absurd amount of magic into the crystal within his chest. That crystal is the key. So if Asta can land a perfect Zetin strike on it, even against this godlike magic that Lucius possesses, it could turn the tide. And realistically, Ryu's absolutely right, because the manga already showed us how busted Asta's Zetin truly is. It boosts his speed and power 100 times, letting him move faster than Lucius can read time, as well as slice through any magic, including soul and time spells. It's the strongest counter and the most broken defense and offense in Black Clover, as stated by the Ryuzen 7 themselves that no one can defeat our MC if he uses it. However, like a true final boss, Lucius flexes on Asta, beating his ass without even breaking a sweat, and then standing over his broken body, Lucius drops the ultimate insult: "I'll bring you back to life just like all the others." Only this time, he promises to grant Asta magical powers to rebuild him the way he believes Asta should have been born, with a proper life under his control instead of being a flaw. So with a cold smile, Lucius almost delivers the final blow, but Yuno saves the day with a shield. Yeah! But no, but nothing could protect Asta from the next moment, because instead of it being a physical torment, it's mental. To stop Asta's counterattack from landing, Lucius recreates his mother Licita right in front of him, bro. This is the first time he has ever met her, and it's the worst of circumstances. In a crazy twist, we learn Lucius, with all his knowledge of the timelines, he was present when Licita died. He didn't stop it on purpose just so that the events would go in his favor to take Lucifero's magic for himself, as Asta had to be raised at the church and so forth to eventually defeat him. Bro, I'm gonna tear up. We witness all the flashbacks again, where we see Licita being the embodiment of unconditional love. Remember, she adopts Liber, a devil outcast by his own kind and the world outside just like herself, but she loves him despite his nature. Because you see, this entire family, they share a common trait. Licita's curse of draining life force is a perfect parallel to Asta's curse of being born without magic. All three of these characters are isolated from society because of something they can't control. So Asta's kindness, empathy, and refusal to ever give up on people, it's something he inherited spiritually from his mother Licita. So Liber seeing their mother again causes their union mode to collapse, and they stop their attack. Remember, for Devil Union to work, their motivations and feelings have to match for resonation, but now it's out of sync. Liber states even if it's a ghost or a fate, he cannot strike the one person he cares about most. This leads to Lucius's plan working, and he strikes them both, instantly giving them a fatal blow. They are at death's door once again, with everyone in the royal capital in disbelief, screaming and crying that their hero is dead. Asta basically got Luffy's scar of X on his chest now, and when he becomes Wizard King, it's gonna be shown. So be sure to buy the poster in the pinned comment to support his campaign and give him votes so I can make more Black Clover videos for you. But just when you think things can't get any worse, can they, ABD? Well, Lucius isn't done cooking. Since 3 of the paladins didn't die via anti-magic, he resurrects the dead once again, this time creating Morris, Acia, and Morgan as archangels, looking exactly how they are depicted in the Bible. They are designed after the cherubim, seraphim, and the living creatures seen in the book of Ezekiel and Revelation, the most terrifying angels in scripture. Their eyes symbolize no sin escapes their judgment, no soul hides from their gaze. They are beings that signal the world is about to end, which is quite important to Yuno, because since he's from the Spade Kingdom and became their king, their entire prophecy is linked to that regarding the royal bloodline. So with the paladins evolving, glazing the heck out of Lucius, and treating life as a disgusting tool like a false god would, Narth claims they are no longer human. Lucius then wants to confirm Asta's death, as he survived last time thanks to Sister Lily. And to be honest, he made another stupid mistake by letting Asta live after defeating Lucifero for no apparent reason. Like, keep in mind, Andremelech is definitely going to betray this dude or just clap at his defeat, claiming the throne of hell for himself once this manga wraps up. We even saw Andremelech in chapter 377 laughing at the fact that Lucius might not have seen this far ahead in the timeline timeline that guarantees his victory. Because guess what? Yuno powers up and turns off his Neverland spell that is protecting the entire kingdom. In this huge gamble, as Yuno becomes a glass cannon with a limited time span, he's focusing on winning, trusting that the fodder can hold their own. However, that is a lot to ask for, Yuno. Like, Asta is dead, which dispels all the anti-magic he gave the squad, making them weaker, and Neverland was boosting the power of allies and weakening the enemy. So all of them basically need to surpass their limits to buy time. Yuno then goes on the offensive, landing attacks on Lucius, but bro claims that, bruh, it's too late. There is nobody that could ever hope to beat me anymore. That's when Asta extends his Demon Dweller and passes it on, which is a direct parallel to the battle against Lucifero, by the way. At that point, Yuno assisted with his star magic, but this time Asta is giving anti-magic. Now, if you're wondering why Yuno can use Asta's spells now, shouldn't it negate his own magic? Well, we don't care, because Tabata could peak, and that's when Yuno's new transformation is revealed. He harnesses the power of anti-magic, making his star magic and all his weapons black. Yuno states they are not running away from battle. Instead, Lucius will be meeting his grave. However, in all honesty, this is Tabata's writing putting an end to his character. Remember that, according to series editor Fukuda, it was originally planned for Yuno to die in chapter 7, but he advised Tabata not to do that because Yuno functions as a permanent yardstick for Asta's growth. Losing Yuno that soon in the story would have robbed future arcs and their potential rivalry. Fast forward to now, Lucius has seen hundreds of timelines, and in every single one, Asta is not his rival. This is a misconception in the community. Remember that Lucius, he always declares that Yuno is his rival. Now, why is that? Because no matter how many futures Lucius observes, Yuno is always the last one standing, the lone knight facing down the end of the world. Lucius even admits that in one of those timelines, Yuno grew up as a Spade Kingdom king, mastering star magic in a few years and reached the peak of his power. And even then, Lucius still killed him and won. That was the strongest version of Yuno. But the current timeline is affected by Asta, which has made all those affected by him grow stronger, and it has changed everything. Keep in mind that Noelle was never meant to be as strong as she is now. Siscolion was meant to be dead, and Yuno is included in that phenomena. This is proven by Lucius himself, stating that there's only one timeline he thinks they can gain victory, which is Yuno being a singularity, a life forged with two souls, one of which is being the Prince of Spade born with star magic, and an elf soul gifted with wind magic. But here's the catch, the elf soul never left his body. Unlike every other reincarnated elf, this one stayed with him for a reason. In chapter 308, Yuno acknowledges the elf soul within him as a part of his identity and makes up all of who he is. But in a haunting moment in chapter 331, Yuno's mother warns him, there are things you must know, even if you're not ready. Yuno learned about the Spade Kingdom prophecy, a star prince destined to stand against the apocalypse. Now Lucius knows this, and that's why he calls Yuno his true rival across all time. However, here's where it gets even more scary. Lucius has been targeting his enemy's souls and can kill you if he touches it. He just gained the two magic types that completely counter Yuno. The chains seal away all magic as shown, but Guelder also poses a problem. Lucius can now use his invincibility magic to make himself undetectable to mana and immune to magic spells whilst it's active. Guelder even fooled an elf doing this and all the Magic Knight captains. So unlike Asta, Yuno cannot detect ki, so he will have to use other means to catch Lucius with anti-magic. But given that the dude can teleport with time, it's obvious Lucius will touch Yuno's soul to kill him. So if Lucius does achieve that, which soul died? Well, I think it's the elf one. Yuno would lose his wind magic, his bond with Belle, and half of who he is. He will be unconscious and everyone will think he's dead across the entire kingdom, which would give Asta the motivation he needs to surpass his limits and never give up on his friend, especially his brother who promised to fight for the title of Wizard King with him. This fulfills Tabata's original plan to kill Yuno without actually removing him from the story, because there's a Black Clover rule. No one dies in this series, right? Jack don't count, we don't give a shit about him.
Let me tell you, we don't care. Jerry.
So eventually, Yuno will make one last assist for our MC to get the dub against Lucius. He can use star magic one last time to support Asta's final Zetan strike against the crystal on Lucius' chest. That's how both their journeys get honored for saving the world. So yeah, Yuno will technically die, but he will live on witnessing Asta gain the title of Wizard King. Now to enjoy more peak fiction, watch this video on your screen right now.